The man was just holding a ruler, casually measuring the corner of the wall. But the next second, he discovered to his horror that the tilt angle of the same wall at different positions actually differed by 30 degrees. However, what was even stranger was that this wall looked completely normal to the naked eye. So, to verify his guess, he ran to the kitchen and poured himself a glass of tap water, then spilled it on the flat ground. Unexpectedly, the water suddenly split in half from the middle, as if it had a mind of its own. Suddenly, the man felt a chill run straight down his spine. He then hurriedly found a tape measure in the house. With his daughter's help, Jack first measured the width from the wall to the living room exit. Then they went to the same place outside the house and remeasured the distance between the two walls. However, surprisingly, the internal width was actually 3 meters wider than the external width. This result completely defied the common sense of architecture, and even the girl found it hard to believe. Just as Jack was completely at a loss, his daughter suddenly felt a chill. She then hurriedly ran back into the house to put on clothes. The daughter took a long time to return to the living room. Initially, when Jack saw his daughter, he didn't think much of it and waved to her in the living room. But just as the daughter put on her coat and opened the door, she never walked out of the room again. Looking at the empty corridor in front of him, Jack thought his daughter was playing hide and seek with him. But when he opened the door his daughter had just walked out of, he found his daughter's clothes on the floor, and there was no sign of his daughter in the entire living room. Jack immediately realized that his daughter might be in danger, so he hurriedly searched the villa. But when he searched every corner, his daughter was still nowhere to be found. The daughter had come to a corridor that didn't belong to this house at all. As the daughter called out for her dad over and over again, Jack outside seemed to hear his daughter's voice. But when he pushed open the door of a room on the second floor, the next second he was back on the first floor. The villa now seemed to have turned into a maze. So, to distinguish the direction, Jack hurriedly brought a chair to block the doorway. When he turned around, the corridor less than 5 meters away from him suddenly turned into 50 meters. Then Jack carefully walked into the room. The door that would only appear in nightmares was now appearing on the bookshelf. He suspected that his daughter was also inside. However, as soon as he walked in, the door behind him suddenly closed by itself. And at the end of this corridor, there was a woman in the bathtub, motionless. Just as she was about to greet the other person, the woman in the bathtub suddenly moved. The girl screamed in fright. Jack, who was outside the door, also heard his daughter's voice. He immediately kicked the door open like crazy. But the next moment, he was back in the living room on the first floor. The chair that had just blocked the door was on the floor. At this point, he finally found his missing daughter on the stairs. Fortunately, she was just frightened. But after that bizarre scene just now, Jack no longer dared to let his daughter out of his sight.